Greetings all. Welcome back to another episode of Journeying Within on Wisdom Wednesday. I am Ifarounke Deidre Prescod, and today we are diving into a space that many of us encounter more often than we would like to admit. Those moments when we feel lost, stuck, and unsure of what comes next. We all have times when the path ahead feels unclear, when we question our direction, our purpose, or even ourselves. It is easy to feel discouraged. But what if I told you that these moments are not only normal, they are necessary? They are invitations to pause, reflect, and realign with who we truly are. In today's episode, I want to explore how we can navigate these moments of uncertainty with grace and wisdom. Together, we will look at ways to embrace the pause, shift our perspective, and find the next steps on our journey, both within and without. So if you're feeling stuck or unsure right now, know that you are in the right place. Let us take this walk together. Let us find clarity in the stillness and strength in the uncertainty. Let us begin by accepting that though feeling lost or stuck is often viewed negatively, this in fact can be a profound signal from our inner selves. These moments invite us to pause, reflect, and reconsider the direction we are heading. They can be opportunities for deep transformation, offering a chance to realign with our true purpose and desires. We all experience moments when we feel lost, stuck, or unable to move forward. These moments can manifest as indecision, fear of the unknown, or even a sense of purposelessness. But what if these feelings are not signs of failure, but opportunities for realignment? What if feeling lost is the first step towards finding a new, truer path? As human beings, we often have a tendency to resist uncertainty and push against moments where things don't seem to move. We force situations, relationships, and even ourselves to fit into molds that may no longer serve us. But sometimes the real wisdom lies not in forcing, but in accepting. Acceptance in its truest form requires us to see things as they are, not as we want them to be. In life, there is a delicate balance between action and surrender, between moving forward and pausing. We need both. Just as in nature, there's a season for everything, a time for growth, and a time for stillness, the times when we feel lost or stuck can often be signals to pause, to embrace the moment of uncertainty, and to allow ourselves to be in that space without judgment or resistance. It is challenging because we are conditioned to keep pushing forward, to make things fit even when they don't. Sometimes our need to control the outcome or to avoid discomfort leads us to force a situation, whether in relationships, work, or even within ourselves. but forcing only creates resistance. And when we refuse to accept what is, we miss out on the valuable lessons that come from being present in the pause. This resistance can come from many places: our biases, blind spots, or long-held habits that cloud our judgment. We don't always want to call a spade, to acknowledge when something simply isn't working. But by accepting the pause and allowing ourselves to reflect, we create space for something new. Space for clarity, for realignment, and ultimately for breakthroughs. So instead of resisting those stuck moments, let us lean into them. Let us recognize that they might just be the pause we need to prepare us for our next phase of growth. Sometimes we feel stuck because we are looking at our situation from a narrow or negative viewpoint, like being lost in a maze. At ground level, everything seems confusing and frustrating, and the way out is not clear. But imagine rising above the maze, seeing the full picture from above. Suddenly, the path that was hidden before becomes clear, and new possibilities begin to unfold. Our minds work in a similar way. When we are caught up in our limited perspective, it can feel impossible to move forward. But if we learn to step back, to see things from a different angle, suddenly we can see pathways we hadn't noticed before. One of the most crucial areas where we often get stuck is in our interactions with others, particularly when we face differences of opinion. It is easy to see things only from our own perspective, but that can be a trap, locking us into one way of thinking. Many conflicts arise when we refuse to make space for another's experience or limitations, when we cling to our viewpoint without considering the possibility of another truth. Think about the conflicts and wars we see all over the world. These are large-scale examples of what happens when perspectives clash. But we can bring this closer to home. In every life, there is some degree of conflict, whether with friends, family, or even ourselves. How often do we find ourselves caught in disagreements simply because we are holding on to the idea that our way is the only way? But what if we shifted our perspective? What if instead of focusing on why others aren't behaving the way we think they should, we ask ourselves, what are their limitations? What is their experience that I am not seeing? People, including ourselves, can only operate within their capacity. Instead of spending valuable time trying to force a square peg into a round hole, we can broaden our perspective, and in doing so, we create room for growth, for compassion, and for real solutions. Conflict, whether internal or external, can be an opportunity for expansion. We do not have to agree with everyone's point of view, but by simply acknowledging and understanding another's limitations, we open ourselves up to new ways forward, ways that do not require us to fight against reality, but instead find peace and progress within it. Now, I would like to invite you to reflect on a time when you felt stuck, particularly in a situation involving a difference of opinion. How might shifting your perspective have opened up a new path? What could have changed if you stepped back to see the full picture or made room for another's experience? Let this be an opportunity to reframe conflict as a tool for growth, rather than a source of frustration. We see the struggle in the world around us, but in our everyday lives, we have the power to shift our perspective. Let us use that power wisely. As we have explored, embracing the pause and shifting our perspective can open up new ways of seeing our situation. But how do we move forward from that place of acceptance? How do we begin to navigate the path ahead when we are still feeling lost or stuck? It is important to remember that movement does not always have to be big or immediate. Sometimes it is the small, consistent steps that create lasting change. So here are a few practical steps you can take to start finding your way forward. Writing down your thoughts, fears, and desires can be a powerful tool for clarity. When we keep everything bottled up in our minds, it becomes hard to see the patterns. But when we transfer those thoughts onto paper, we can start to untangle them. Journaling gives you the space to reflect, identify your emotions, and even discover paths forward that you hadn't noticed before. It is a gentle but powerful way to release the mental fog. When the noise in our minds becomes overwhelming, grounding practices can bring us back to the present moment. Whether it's mindfulness, a walk in nature, or a simple breathing exercise, grounding helps us reconnect with our bodies and the present. This calm and centered state often opens up clarity and allows us to feel more at peace with where we are. There is wisdom in knowing when to seek help. We don't always have to figure out everything on our own. Whether it is reaching out to a trusted friend, a mentor, or seeking spiritual guidance through prayer or meditation, help can come from many places. Sometimes just sharing your feelings with someone else can give you the fresh perspective or reassurance you need to move forward. Feeling lost or stuck is not a sign that you have gone wrong. In fact, it is a natural part of the human journey, and often it is a signal that we need to look deeper. When we stop resisting these moments and start embracing them as invitations to pause and realign, we open up to growth, new perspectives, and fresh opportunities. If you are feeling stuck right now, remember, you are not alone. This feeling will pass, and when it does, you will emerge stronger and clearer. Give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to trust that clarity is just around the corner. Know that it is okay to be where you are. The next step will reveal itself when the time is right. Before we close, I would like to leave you with a few reflections to help you explore where you are right now. What's one area of your life where you feel lost or stuck? How can you embrace this pause instead of resisting it? Is there a new perspective you could take on this situation that might help you see it differently? What small steps could you take today to help you move forward, even if it's just one tiny step at a time? Thank you for journeying within with me today. Remember, the moments when you feel lost or stuck are simply part of the process, an invitation to realign and grow. Take the time to pause, reflect, and trust that clarity will come in its own time. Every step, no matter how small, moves you closer to your true path. If this episode resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who might need these words today. And as always, stay tuned for more explorations and reflections on our journey within. Until next time, take care of yourselves, trust in the process, and embrace each moment with grace. Much love and peace to you all.